All right, so today we're diving into this really powerful idea from writer and knowledge curator D.R. Nair. It's something that completely challenges how we think about our feelings. You know those 6 basic emotions that modern psychology taught us? Yeah, let's put those aside for a minute. We're going to decode what he calls our emotional operating system, and we're going to use a much richer, much more ancient map to do it. The whole thing kicks off not with some complicated theory, but with a series of, well, commands for living more fully. It starts with a simple, profound permission to just cry if you must. And it definitely doesn't shy away from that fire inside, telling us scream when anger burns. And then it encourages us to really embrace joy, all of it, to laugh without apology. When you put them all together, it's this incredibly powerful call to just stop policing our own feelings. And that leads to the central, really provocative question, right? We're told all the time to keep a level head, to stay calm and collected. But who decided that suppressing everything equals balance? The author is challenging the entire idea that just bottling up our feelings is the right path to being stable. So let's get into this core metaphor, your emotional OS. I want you to think of your feelings not as bugs or glitches that you need to fix, but as the fundamental operating system you were born with. It's the core code running your entire human experience, and guess what? There's no rebooting it. You can't uninstall it. You've got to learn to work with it. Now, to really get why this ancient wisdom is so different, we first have to look at the framework we're all used to. So, what's the standard view? Well, modern psychology generally boils it all down to 6 basic universal emotions. You probably know them instantly: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. For decades, that's been the accepted map of our feelings. But what if that model is just incomplete? What if it's like trying to paint a masterpiece with only 6 colors? This is where we're asked to consider a much older, more nuanced palette. And this brings us to the idea of Navarasa. It comes from the Nāṭyaśāstra, which is this ancient Indian text on the performing arts. See, this framework wasn't just about identifying emotions for, clinical purposes. It was about understanding the rasas, the essential flavors that an artist can evoke and an audience should feel. It describes 9 of these core human essences. So instead of 6, we have 9. And look, it might not seem like a huge jump, but those 3 extra essences, they fundamentally change the entire map of our inner world. Okay, this is where it gets really, really interesting. On the left, you see the familiar 6, but on the right, wow, the Navarasa palette is just so much richer. It doesn't just have anger, it has valor or heroic courage, which frames that energy as a potentially noble, constructive force. It elevates simple surprise to wonder, that amazing sense of awe we feel. And most importantly, it adds peace or Shanta rasa, and this is huge. It suggests that the ultimate emotional goal isn't just to be happy, but to find a state of deep, calm tranquility that can actually coexist with all our other feelings. The thinking then goes, these essences, these emotions, they rarely just exist in a vacuum. They're more like a language, where primary feelings combine to form these more complex sentences and paragraphs of our experience. Think about it like this. What is love really? Well, according to this model, you can see it as a compound emotion. It's a blend of the joy you feel in someone's presence combined with a deep sense of trust. Or think about that feeling of awe when you see a meteor shower or stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon. It's not just surprise, is it? It's surprise mixed with just a touch of fear or this awareness of your own smallness. And that beautifully illustrates how 2 primary feelings can create this sublime, powerful third feeling. And here's one we can all relate to: nostalgia. That bittersweet feeling of looking back at a happy memory that's now in the past. It's the perfect blend of happiness from the memory and sadness that it's over. Now, beyond just combining, emotions also exist on this spectrum of intensity. Being annoyed at a slow driver, that's one thing. But if it festers, it can harden into genuine anger. And if it explodes, it becomes rage. The crucial point here is they aren't separate emotions. They're the same one, just at different volumes. So if our inner world is this complex, what happens when we try to show it to the outer world? This brings us to the performance of emotion. The masks we all wear. We're taught that a blank expression means neutrality, but this view completely flips that on its head. A deadpan face isn't an absence of feeling. It is an act of immense control. It is active regulation, and a lot of the time, it's just a mask for a storm that's happening inside. And this sets up a fascinating conflict inside all of us. Our face becomes a stage, performing the role we think we're supposed to be playing, calm, cool, collected. But our body? Our body is a terrible actor. It almost always reveals the truth. And the truth? Well, it always finds a way out through these little physical tells. The slight tremble in a voice that's trying to sound confident. The hunched shoulders of someone insisting they're fine. Or those tiny little micro-expressions that flash across a face before the mask is put back on. Our bodies just don't know how to lie. And so, we're going to leave you with a final question. Now that you have this richer map of our emotional OS, just ask yourself, are you letting your emotions communicate their essential messages? Or are you spending all your energy stage managing a performance for everyone else?